I think Jason found out the state of Iowa.
Yeah, not Washington. Washington,
It's a long ways away from you.
yeah, it doesn't need to meet their approval. We don't have to get anything run past them, but we would have to run it past Des Moines.
Actually, we don't need to run it past Des Moines. They said they would be willing to look at the plans if we did from the, just for the
We just gotta run it
historical.
past you, is that it?
Sure, yeah.
All right, done deal.
I'll be kind of hard-nosed about it, so we can.
I tell you what, Rich, we just wanna stay clean in this program. And our Joe, he's kept us out of jail, you know, so we just wanna do what's right. Thank you very much for everybody. Okay, what we got?
It's a good day in everything.
Okay, the last one on the action items is the Airport Capital Improvement Program. The Airport Advisory Committee has actively advanced improvements to the airport facilities with several notable accomplishments as follows. The first one is the Airport Terminal Renovation Project, which we did, and it was a public-private partnership program, which we operate under. With Mr. Timmons did that. Airport signage, 5 locations, the old school signs, that's done. Environmental assessment to achieve the bonds, which is Bolton and Mink, that's done. We got a master plan and updated ALP by Bolton and Mink, that's done. Grading and utilities to the hangar site, Mr. Clark did that, that's completed. The grading of the north expansion area, which is Mr. Clark, and that's completed. A lease and coordinated hangar construction with Mr. Pat Feenstra, and that lease has been handled, and the hangar is under construction right now. Am I right, Scott?
Yep.
The grading site for the AWAS relocation has been done by Dreckman, or working on it. And the AWAS equipment relocation contract has been handled with Mr. Volkmer. It's now time to implement the council FAA approved CIP regarding the runway extensions. In other words, we've been working on these projects for I don't know how long, Scott, a year or two, and we've got those all completed. We're at the time now where we need to take a look at some extensions on the runway. The Airport Advisory Committee, and we met last Thursday, I believe it was, is recommending council authorize 2 projects. Namely, the first one is a 150-foot runway extension north at 90% FAA, coming in at 10% for the city, and the city's portion of it would be the TIF funding using the Bolton and Mink engineering. And the second one is a 300-foot runway extension north, and that would be 100% paid for by the city, and the TIF funding would be from the McClure, using the McClure engineering. We've actually took a look at both of these engineering firms, and one was much cheaper than the other one on that one, and the other one just the opposite. The financial impact, the 90% FAA federal fund entitlement funds allocated to the city of Lenars, and the TIF funds are from the Highway 75 bypass urban renewal TIF district. So I guess what we're saying is that the money's there and we can get it, and we're asking for your approval on moving ahead. Any questions?
The first 150 feet is north, and then another 300 feet goes north again?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's 450 going north.
Yeah.
All total, yes.
But the 150 is the only part that the FAA isn't.
Yeah, that's the only part.
But you gotta get that in place before you can start building the other 300, right?
Yes. Yeah, they gotta be in sync, in the proper order.
Any other questions?
Sounds good.
I make a motion approving the Airport Advisory Committee's recommendation to proceed with 2 runway extensions.
Is there a second? Motion made second, approving the Airport Advisory Committee's recommendation to proceed with 2 runway extensions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, moving on to the discussion. John?
Mayor, I've heard a lot of positive comments comments about the white topping project. It's smooth, it's nice, and it's clean, and now I'm having some questions. Is there anything we could, since the state owns the highway north of Highway 3 intersection, is there any way we can maybe help them or try to convince them to expedite a project to do some white topping going north
They've already developing a project for blacktop.
for blacktop? Okay.
They're gonna mill out, almost do what they did about 12 years ago for the piece that we just put concrete on. They're gonna do that going north.
Great.
Yeah, it's under, it's already proceeding.
Wonderful.
Would they consider doing the first 50 feet of 75 east on 3? Because that section is in really bad shape.
Where their termini are exactly, I'm not sure, because when Highway 3 got done, the intersection got done. So I don't know if they're starting at the north return and going north, or if they're gonna start in the intersection, I'm not sure.
It's just that section.
I can
of the
find out.
Intersection east.
Yeah, there's some
about
pretty
50
good
feet,
ruts there.
Yeah, I can find out from DOT.
Great.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Good. Clark?
Kind of curious where 7th Avenue in front of Plymouth Manor is in the priority list for
It's closed right now.
7th is?
Yep.
Started on it this morning.
When did that happen? Okay, well.
This
you
morning.
treated me like that.
Talk about impressive.
We're doing it.
How do you like that?
Okay, and then North Greenwood there from Butcher and McCreary.
Yeah, I don't know. That'll be nasty.
That's pretty nasty right in there, so. If you said that one was closed, then say, only after 7 o'clock this morning then, because. But anyway, can we kind of look that one over, Jason?
I thought of that one the other day, Clark.
Okay, good enough, all right, good enough. Oh, that's it, thank you.
Nate? Rex? No. Ken?
Only to say that the grumpy old florist on the highway is happy now. We got a smooth road, and we have, to some extent, some grass, but they're out of there, that's the important thing.
Yeah, but you got a sidewalk that's still up in the air.
No,
We don't let them touch the sidewalk.
Sidewalk doesn't go
Don't
on.
get him riled up now.
It took a fair amount of threatening to get that grass out there. But I made a promise to you guys that it'd be done before Memorial. So I kind of passed that on to the contractors.
Okay, Scott?
Business 75, from all indication, lead weather delays them. Harris wants to be out of here before Memorial Weekend, and I think they're gonna achieve that. They will, in effect, have achieved all of the financial incentives on all 4 phases. So I think the financial incentive on projects definitely appear to be working. They mentioned it to me, they mentioned it to our engineer, Pat Becker. When something comes up, they'll say, well, we're meeting our goal, so you can't change something midstream that would cause us not to get the incentive. So it's a welcome attitude, a very welcome attitude. We have pulled the trigger on Park Lane white topping. We did some asphalt overlay last year in anticipation of putting a white top on there, and Harris will be doing it. I leveraged the contract, as you guys kind of always point out to me, and they're willing to do it. Now, they will only do the east 1,200 feet, because the west couple hundred feet we'll have to leave open in order to get the RVs in and out. And then when the white top is done to the east, longer piece, that's where the RVs will be able to come in and park. Crescent Ridge, mainline paving is in. Vanderpool performed very nicely.
Worked every day.
The paving crew.
All weekend.
Yep.
They worked Saturday, Sunday, they were working at 10 o'clock at night.
Yep.
They did a good job.
Yep, I was out there twice on Saturday answering some questions, and they were paving driveways. And
What's the speed limit gonna be out there? Or is it supposed to be? Maybe 3 different numbers, but
Exactly. I think we will want to, in this case, post it, because north half westbound is rural character,
Right.
55.
Right.
Eastbound south half residential character should be 25.
Right.
I think the council's gonna have to decide what you want that and how you want it accelerated or de-accelerated. So we need to figure
I
that
think
out.
we gotta get some signs out there.
It comes from a 55 into that and then onto a 45, correct?
It's 45 where it widens out with 4-lane.
Yeah.
You motioned that a while back. And then to the west is gravel, rural,
55.
and that's 50.
Oh, 50.
On gravel, it's 50 by state statute. So we're gonna have to figure that out because we got a lot of things going on there.
It's gotta be something different than it is.
Yeah. The contract that the LBIC and the city allowed on hauling the dirt into the new Chevy shop is going real well with Kellen. And the borrow site that is in the Lamar's Industrial Park is being taken off the east side of LPS 3. That's Paul Gangler's warehouse number 3. And so that looks really, really good to me. I've been monitoring that with Del Kellen, and they're doing a good job. Dogwood Second Edition, they were gonna pave the last mainline slab, which was 4th Ave, Monday, but then it rained, so, or excuse me, this morning, and then it rained, so I don't know what their revised plan is. 20th is paved, mainline, and Dogwood Drive is paved, mainline. They have intersections to do, and they have inlet box outs to do. The alley by Anthony that you authorized last year, that finally got paved, that was a extreme issue as far as grading it. And the reason it's so extreme is countless utilities, and most of the utilities were not at proper depth. They were too shallow.
They only hit one though, they did really well.
Scott Knipe and the guys, the public works guys, did an excellent job, but it took a while because it was so encumbered with utilities. The next white top that we intend to pull the trigger on is 6th Avenue Southwest, and we're doing a little experimental work on cutting the curbs. And so the same outfit that you approved on grinding those trip edges for the sidewalks, we're using their technology, their zero height saw cut ability on trying to cut those curbs off, and it seems to be working just ideal. And so we think we're gonna pull the trigger with them on the curb removal, and then we'll get a contractor to do the white topping. Most of you have seen the shelter house advancement at the open house. We've had 2 rentals out there, but the contractors are back working during the week. And so we're gonna continue the progress out there. They're also continuing at the clubhouse, which is the former park house. Also at the restroom showers next to the park house, and also at the restrooms at O'Toole Park. All of these are part of the CBP2. If you drove by those areas, you notice that we have, on all these buildings, we have new cedar shake shingles and new windows installed on all of them. The doors will go in at the appropriate time. Nohava was hired to do a new roof on the old Public Works building, and that is done. Also to do a new roof on the swimming pool, that's a CBP project, and that is done. That's on the bathhouse I'm talking about. The audio visual equipment in this building has been completely changed out using the tax that is put on your cable bill by Premier. And I think the last check that came in was $22,000, just for your information. So we spent just under $10,000.
Just under 10, 9,600 or something like that.
2 TVs, all smart, a new digital camera, a new case with all new amps and microphone receivers, new speaker. These speakers are new in the ceiling, And then we also had to have some converters from analog to digital. And Ryan Insulation is who we hired, and he worked that out with Precision, or Premier, excuse me. So hopefully the audience likes it. Hopefully it's broadcasting clearly.
The last word I had was we were broadcasting loud and clear.
Okay. You've been asking for an upgrade for some time, and we pulled the trigger. Precision concrete cutting did get done with all 53,000 of what you approved, and we had an issue come up about the outdoor pool, the perimeter, and we pulled the trigger on that as well. So you spent about 60,000 with Precision on getting rid of all the trips that was listed, and we gave you a copy of that. We have Mauser hired to put the sewer in for the Habituate Coffee drive-up, and that's not done yet. As the mayor pointed out, the AWAS pad is constructed, and I did want to point out that mid-June is when Volkner will be here to relocate the AWAS from the south side of the terminal complex to the west side of the runway. Vanderpool keeps making progress, but it's slow progress north Business 75 on the water main. The south block is in and energized. The north block is in and energized, meaning it has water under pressure and we can use it. The middle two blocks is what we're waiting for completion. We do have a 60 to 70% set of plans for the campground renovation from JEO, and we're reviewing that with staff. And then finally, we pulled the trigger at the golf course for the storage unit expansion. And so that outdoor service area that doesn't have a roof, if you've ever been through the catering kitchen, that's gonna have a roof put on it. The 4 condensing units moved to the top, 2 doors installed so that that becomes part of storage space for the banquet hall, and we pulled the trigger on that. That's all I have.
Replacement of the trail through the municipal park. Is that ready to go?
The trail.
We think so. Walker's gonna do that work, and your public works staff is gonna put the boulders on the east curve before that trail goes in.
Chief?
This one, you want me to do this?
Yes.
Okay. You gotta time me, Rex.
I've got to go. Depends on how much gas for.
You're halfway through.
Boy. As you know, the state, or you don't know, the state did change the fireworks law for this year. Last Tuesday, it was signed by Governor Branstad, which allows a couple different things. So what I put in front of you is just kind of a bullet sheet. We've had several meetings with administration, public safety committee members. I worked on 3 different drafts, and then we met again yesterday morning. The 2 things that this affects with the new fireworks law is sales and discharging. The sales part, they talk about cities cannot basically do anything about the sales as far as saying people can't sell them. However, we can enforce our current fire code, building code, and zoning. So if you look at the first part of this bullet sheet here, sales, this is under the state law. The sales of fireworks are allowed from June 1st through July 8th and December 10th through January 3rd of each year. A person by state, the new state law, has to get a consumer fireworks seller's license, which is issued by the state fire marshal's office prior to being able to sell fireworks on the above dates only. The fire marshal's office does not have that permit process done yet. They're working on it. We're supposed to get some more information May 22nd, hopefully. But this all got ran through so fast that I don't know if the permit process is even going to be ready by June 1st when they've allowed the sales to start. we're going to require that the person show that proof of having that license to us here at the city prior to being able to sell. Person has to obtain commercial general liability insurance, a minimum of $1 million per occurrence and an aggregate of at least $2 million. That's in the new state law. We're going to require here in Lamar's that they show us their insurance as well. Person then will have to get a permit from the city, just like we do for liquor licenses and other things, and an annual fee of $150 prior to selling fireworks in the city of Lamar's. That fee is one of those fees you established with our fee category a long time ago. We have a feasibility fee schedule up to $150. And then all building, fire, and zoning codes approved by the city of Lamar's shall be met prior to a city permit being issued on an annual basis. And a violation of any of the above can result in a citation that's set forth in the state law, and fines, and of course loss of the license through the fire marshal's office. Basically, we will follow our fire and building code and zoning ordinances so that where these things can be located in our city meet what we've already had spelled out. So no new ordinance is needed for that. Basically, they will be permanent structures that are sprinkled. That's what our code's going to require. So you will not be able to put up a tent or a temporary trailer or anything like that in our community. That doesn't mean they won't go outside town a mile and set one up, sort of like you see when you cross the state line and you see all the fireworks stands, but you don't really see them like at Sioux Falls or something like that. So we have to allow them to sell them, but we are allowed to enforce our home rules and our already adopted codes and ordinances. So on the sales side, that's what we're going to do. On the discharging of the fireworks, a lot of cities right now are talking about opting out, meaning they're not going to allow people to shoot them off. Through our discussions, that's a nightmare to try to enforce. The number of complaint calls we get, we don't have enough police officers or people to chase that down. People were already doing it anyway. Now it's even more of a free-for-all for people to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow the state law here in Lamar's. And there's different times and dates set up that you can do this. It's going to be an educational process for the citizens. They're not going to remember these dates. We're going to put it in the paper. We're going to put it on the radio. We're going to have this sheet up at the desk at City Hall. We're going to put it on our website. But discharging of fireworks by the new law in the state are allowed from June 1st to July 8th and December 10th to January 3rd. Fireworks may only be discharged on the above dates from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m.